Good morning, everybody. My name is Kayleen. Welcome to Loving Life with Light and the Universal Astrology Daily Astrology episode. So, a little bit of a disclaimer with the daily part as I am in the middle of a move. I'm currently living in my mother's house and trying to find a place to move before the end of the month, and then I will be moving. So, we are going to do our very best to continue the morning streams for Universal Astrology episodes. It may be a little bit wishy-washy on whether or not I will be able to start up the bonus streams, the 2-hour bonus streams between 12 and 2, consistently until I move. Once I move, things may reorganize once again as my hubby goes back to work. So, in other words, just hang in there with me as some of the scheduling may change for the episode. The daily episode should remain about 10 o'clock though. What I'm considering, and maybe you can let me know in the comments if it makes a difference to you, what I'm considering is jumping on and doing the daily Universal Astrology episode, but then doing the bonus streams later on in the evening after my hubby gets home, say between 5 and 7 p.m. Let me know if you guys think that would work for you, and I will definitely consider the different time frames because during the day I'll be with my baby girl. So I either pick a couple of days where I put her into childcare, or I figure out a time in the evening that I stream. All right, so today is the 24th, and because of everything I've just said, I honestly have not looked at any astrology or weather until late last night, and I fell asleep looking at solar news because there is a storm that we are definitely expected to influence us. So I'm rather curious whether this is a storm that just still hasn't gotten to us that we saw from last week and it's just taken its sweet time, or if there's been new activity. I have a sneaking suspicion that it's been new activity. So I'm going to get to the astrology right now for today, and then I'm going to cut the episode and do another one and kind of do a little bit of an investigation about what's going on. So below me here is the daily astrology chart for today, the 24th of August of 2020. We have another fire day. It is a fire ruled day by quite a number of points, 52. But the other elements, except for water, are actually to have decent points today as well. So everything but water plays some kind of heavy influence to get today. Over on the other side, that side. I'm pointing in the same direction. I need to go that way. We'll see up here that today is classically ruled by the moon, so we can also consider ourselves a part of that binary system. So moon/earth day today being Monday. And then below the moon, you'll see 3 new icons. Now I've tried to find out where the rulers are. I did finally take some extra time this weekend to figure that out. So today's ruler is definitely the sun. Behind the sun is Mars, and behind Mars is Jupiter. Now, the point system here is a little bit similar to the way that this program does the elements. Down in the bottom left hand corner here, astrologers will be able to see the elemental balance. However, the point system used in this was rather confusing. So that's how I was able to figure out the the day ruler. So first of all, the sun being in its home sign is in Leo. Woo! It is officially summertime and the sun is officially happy to be home. We also have the sun is making an awesome trine over to Uranus and Aries. Also a fire sign. Mom, I'm recording. I'm recording. I love you too.
I'll see you beforehand. Good luck tonight. Okay, I love you. Keep me out, everyone.
Love you too. Mom's going for a day trip. And so we've got that trine, which gives more power over to the sun because it's a fire element. And what else does the sun have going for it? We've also got the Mars is also in a rightful place, being in Aries. Aries is also the home sign of Mars, so that's always an interesting conundrum. Is okay, so Mars is no longer swimming in Pisces. Now he's home. He has landed, and he's within the first couple degrees, so he's shaking himself off, taking a couple of deep breaths, getting the water out of his lungs, and we're about ready to go. I think we're about ready to go. And then we've also got Jupiter. Jupiter's also at home in Sagittarius. So that's always a nice little roundabout for these three planets that are in their home sign. Interesting enough, the fire is not where we have trine, though, although it's very close. If Uranus had anything going on to any of these guys down here, we would have a Star of David going on, if you can see that. So this other trine of relationships that we have going on here is between air. We've got the moon is an air of Libra, Venus in Gemini, and Neptune in Aquarius. So the moon is going to cycle around rather quickly. So this is just a time frame of right now, a couple minutes before 10, because the moon is about to move and shift. But I think that is an interesting note, is that almost perfect air trine, and then an almost perfect, almost existing fire trine. So what happens when you have a fire and you blow air on it, which is basically what's happening? We have fire. Sun is at home, Uranus is at home, Mars is at home. Why are we surprised that it's a fire element ruling time? Those aren't perfect trines, but we still have those powerful ruling planets of the day being challenged with an actual air sign. So you do the math. What normally happens there? So this is where I get really excited and want to look at what the heck the Earth is doing. So if there's anything else that I can point out, I will do so before I get just too excited here. Saturn is the only one making a square over to Mars. So it's a 90-degree angle, a little bit of a challenge. So whenever we see a challenge between Saturn and Mars, we know it's a kind of the feeling of our knowing what our responsibilities are, knowing what we're supposed to be doing, and the worker being on site, feeling like there's something that he could be doing better, or that he could be doing something better with his time. Leave it to Mars or leave it to Saturn to decide what's really best. But Saturn is the ruler of the job site, and he's there to make sure that things get done, things that get done on time, that people are where they're supposed to be, doing what they're supposed to be. But Mars, a lot of the time while he's on site, feels like he knows that he has the skills and the intelligence to do it himself. He's the one that does all the work anyways. So there can be some disagreement sometimes between the laborer and the boss man. And so whenever we see a challenge, that's kind of the image that I get, is a boss and a laborer on the job site at the same time. And so at 1 degrees Aries, Mars just got to the job site. So he might not even know exactly what he's going to be doing at that job site yet. And so we would have to look at Helio, the Sun Center chart, to know exactly what's really going on with Mars and what duty he's really playing. Additionally, Venus is still in an opposition between Jupiter and looks like Mercury is what's trining over to Uranus. Mercury is typically an air sign in Leo. So the mind in Leo can be prideful. What we should be aware of, just as negative traits that might come up with this energy of Mercury being in Leo and the sun being in Leo and trining over to Uranus, is a tendency to quickfire thoughts, to quickfire actions, and a little bit of a prone to selfishness, or the ultimate job of Leo is to take care of the kingdom. But if you don't take care of the kingdom, a lot of the times it's because you have a selfish king in position. So just make sure that you are not being the selfish king in your own life, king or queen, but that you actually are taking the most out of this energy to assist the kingdom. So to translate that into your own day-to-day life, that just means don't just think about yourself, think about your family, think about your extended family, think about your friend circle, and the people that and the village that actually makes your life worthwhile. Because without the kingdom or without your village, your life becomes very boring, and your selfishness tends not to matter as much because you have no one to share it with. So just a gentle reminder that our mind and our soul self is either going to have that tendency. It's going to have a tendency to be selfish and prideful and pleasure seeking, or we're going to have the right tendency to help the world immediately around us to rise up and improve and take into consideration everyone. This is really matched good with Aquarius, because Aquarius is the humanitarian who wants everything to be equal, and this is Leo's opposite. So if you missed that little rant in a previous episode about opposites, look in the timestamp of the last couple of episodes that I've done, and you'll see my little tangent on opposites. But a lot of the time if you bring together the opposites, they make a whole, a perfect whole. And so you can just keep that in mind, that over there opposing this and making this energy whole is Neptune in Aquarius. So if you were to put together the Sun and Mercury in Leo and Neptune in Aquarius, you would hope to get a fuller picture about what's really going on, especially in the collective. So I will take a moment in this episode to jump over to Helio, which is where I will start up the next episode, where I'll do a little bit of research about what storm is going on right now from the Sun, because we expect to have a KP index day of 4 today, which would be the first in a while. So I'm going to check that out in the next episode. So this is a Sun-centered chart. Let me just make sure that it changed over, and it did. Good. So sometimes when we look at Helio, we'll find that things are actually really close together, and the charts don't seem to be that different. It has to do with how exactly the Earth is aligned with the Sun. In this case, some things can look ahead, or some things can look behind from the geocentric that we were just looking at. So this is a good example of one that is not the same as a geocentric position. For example, if we look at the grouping of the outer planets that are lined up in geocentric Sagittarius, when we look here, they're actually mostly in Capricorn energy. So Jupiter, Saturn are both in Capricorn in the Sun's eyes through the Sun's chart, while Pluto is just at the tail end at 28 degrees Sagittarius still. And other than that, we've got a lot of different lineups happening, conjunctions. We have, if we look at this from a Sun-centered perspective, Mars and Neptune are making a conjunction, which means that they are aligned perfectly when we look at Sun-centered. So we'll look at that, because Mars, when we look at geocentric, is just getting into Aries and actually is in power there. Whereas here, it's lined up with Neptune, which is the opposite of the Leo that we just saw the Sun is in. Interesting note there, right? You've kind of got to put the two together to make sense of it. Then we've got Chiron is in Pisces, and then we have this little confuddled area at 0 degrees Aries. The North Node, Lilith, and Venus are all conjunct. So Venus and Lilith is always in geocentric tropical, would be looked at as a struggle with the shadow in the relationship. So to Sun, to a geocentric, how we would interpret that is just like a shadowy time for relationships. However, this is a Sun-centered situation. So instead, Lilith becomes less like the sexual shadow and more like the kind of dark priestess almost, who is hiding or leading something from sight of the Sun. So let's look at where we've got. I'm going to open up solar system scope and share my screen with you so that we can see what this looks like. Okay. So this is today. This is right now. We've got Mars and Neptune. Boom, boom. So this is what the heliocentric is showing. Now it doesn't look that way from an Earth's perspective, right? From an Earth perspective, Mars is looking out towards Aries. Right here. This is Aries, by the way. This massive thing right here is Pisces. Aries, Pisces. And if we look from an Earth perspective again, Neptune is in Aquarius. This upside down looking thing is Aquarius. Okay. So when we look from a sun perspective, Mars and Neptune are definitely in a conjunction, almost in conjunction with the Mercury. Remember the other day we were seeing Mercury and all of this clump up and align in different ways. Now everything's starting to spread out a little bit as things do their cycle around. So, and we can see also that, yeah, again, these outer guys are mostly into the energy of Capricorn. This is Capricorn and this is Sagittarius. So Pluto really is still in the energy of Sagittarius. Neptune, pretty darn close, as well as Saturn is definitely more entering into that area of Capricorn. So that's what the helio looks like from a perspective here. Let's see if we've got any fixed stars that we know that we can look at. Mars to... So Mars and Neptune are currently aligned to Catalpha, gives friendship and sagacity. Sagacity. I've never heard that word before. Discernment and good judgment. And a love of pleasure. The spectral nature of Mercury and Venus combined. Ancient astrologers asserted that those born under these signs would be famous charioteers, teamsters, or courier scouts. They may also be veterinarians, in keeping with the mercurial nature of its major star. I'm just trying to see. Okay, constellation of words. I don't think that I have used this site in the videos yet. So this is Constellation of Words. Also another really awesome site for astrology or astronomers to learn more about the constellations, the myth and the lore of the stars, as well as I think this is the one that breaks down stars. It can at times break down stars rather scientifically, or maybe that's another one. I'm not sure. Constellation of Words is one that I do have and have used and am familiar with. Okay. Oh, okay. So Pegasus. Interesting. So if we find Pegasus and Equules, now Equules is kind of if we look at this, a part of kind of the Pegasus situation. So Pegasus is sitting above in the sky up here. And that is, now I bet you, if If I make stars clickable. We're looking at one of these guys. I betcha. Unfortunately, a lot of the time astronomy doesn't take into consideration the names that astrologers have used, so it can be difficult to figure out which star it's actually talking about. Okay, here we go. Not that high. Or it's higher. Let's see. That's too much. See, this is why live astrology always takes time. So we're somewhere here, right here. This is it right here, I betcha. One of these stars right in here is what we're looking at for the alignment. So first horse. This horse is identified with Celerus, the swiftfoal or colt, son of Pegasus, given by Mercury to Castor. Given by Mercury to Castor. Castor is Gemini. Mercury rules Gemini. So where is Mercury right now? It's in Gemini. Inside Real Astrology. So that's kind of an interesting markup, is that in Sun view, Mars and Neptune are aligned in Aquarius to this Pegasus star, which was the gift of Mercury to Gemini. And so this being for Mars, I don't know, you could definitely play with that in your mind for a little while, right? Because excuse me, Mercury is in Leo. It's Venus that's in Gemini. So Mercury is not making a straight relationship over to Mars, but see this dotted line? So it's close to making a trine over to Mars. Let's see if it's gonna. No, it made a trine over to Uranus is what it did. Going later into the afternoon to see kind of what happens. Look at that, how beautiful that is. That is almost the Star of David. Almost. This is at hour almost 14. I'm going to go up the 7 minutes. This is, again, almost the Star of David between the air and the fire elements. Woo! All right, you know what, guys? I'm going to call that the episode for now and get over to doing some research, because I've just got the solar storm like hanging over my head right now, and my baby girl's gonna be home soon. Yay! So thank you for being here for the episode. Hang in there with me while I do the move. As I said at the beginning, just things are just gonna be a little bit crazy in my life until I get them settled back down. So wish us luck in finding a place, and I will see you guys tomorrow morning. And hopefully I'll do a small research episode as well today. Thanks for being here, guys. Much love. Bye-bye.